Jeffrey Dahmer started out as a normal child, or at least that's what he says. When he was young, him and his father would pour bleach over small rodents, and when only the bones remained, he would carry them around in a small bucket. The family joked that this was his version of a rattle. His father was a scientist who was studying the effects of bleach and chemicals had on the small rodents. For Jeff, though, he found pleasure in it. He displayed patterns of animal abuse throughout his high school, which can be signs of someone who has the mental capacity to kill someone. This is a very broad statement, and this is not the only reason he would grow into the Milwaukee Monster. He always had an unnaturally high libido, and said that starting at the age of 13. He would spend two-thirds of his day just thinking about sex, specifically with the corpses of men. The first time he ever seriously considered killing someone was when he was only 13. A jogger would go through his neighborhood regularly, so one day Jeff decided to hide under the stairs with a baseball bat and wait for him. Luckily for the jogger, he did not go running that day. His first confirmed murder was in 1978 when he was only 18. He committed this murder in Bath Township. He didn't commit another murder for 9 years, at which point he had moved to Milwaukee, where he would become notorious as the Milwaukee Monster. When he lived there, he murdered 15 more people. He would murder, rape, dismember, and eat his victims. He killed regularly until he was captured in July 1991. He only killed there for 4 years. His rate of murder was extremely high, killing someone about every 3 months. He would have continued if it wasn't for a small slip-up. Police officers were questioning him and were going to leave him alone until they saw a Polaroid he had of one of his victims. The police continued searching his apartment and found several heads in the freezer, vats full of torsos, and other limbs in his fridge that looked like he had been eating them. He said his favorite part was the thighs. He tried different methods of seasoning, tenderizing, and cooking the meat. This is how I envisioned he would try them, and if he was alive today, this is what he would be doing.
Hot sauce on chicken. OMG, it's so good. It's gonna be busting, 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 busting. Woohoo, love that hot sauce. Yeah, yeah.
He ate them because he believed they would come back alive inside of him. After he was caught, he went on trial and received 16 life sentences for a total of 941 years in prison. He was beaten to death in prison, his head was bashed against the wall and hit repeatedly in the head by a metal bar. He was taken to the hospital and died 1 hour later.